Get a cup, get a cup, get a cup. Hello, hello. Welcome back, everyone, to another video on Fresh Cut Slim. And today, I'm going to be reacting to a different type of video. This is by CoffeeZilla. I've seen some of CoffeeZilla's videos before in my own time, and they're really well done. And this video piques my interest because it is about MrBeast, and it's called Investigating MrBeast. I saw recently, a few months ago, actually probably about a month ago, that it came out that he was linked to these accounts where he got around $20 million. So this is all alleged because I did not do any research into it. I do not know. So this is why this video piques my interest.
I investigated MrBeast, who was recently accused of making $23 million with insider trading and scams. I wanted to know the full story, so I reached out to everyone, from researchers to crypto projects, even to MrBeast himself. And let me say, the story is more complicated than you think. I want to be clear. What MrBeast did, what his team did, is shady. But what we care about...
It may be shady, but is it illegal, right? Like, you can do some shady things. A lot of people do shady things, but there's a difference from it being, okay, that's kind of scummy, that's kind of shady, to, hey, that's illegal.
Is, did he cross that bright red line from shady to illegal scam? And
exactly.
Contrary to what Twitter says, I don't think that's an easy answer. Instead, I think the answer will depend on you. If you love MrBeast, there will be an explanation at every turn and a scapegoat. But if you hate MrBeast, what I'm about to show you will seem unethical and like a clear abuse of fame for money.
See, I'm kind of in the middle here. I don't love nor hate him. I remember, watching him grow up from when he was just doing like live streams where he would like read the Bible through an entire live stream, or he would count to 1 million or something like that. I remember when he started doing that kind of stuff and then moved on to, where he is now. And it's crazy seeing his progress. But the newer stuff I'm not a fan of. The older stuff, like kind of right when he started getting bigger, like when he's opened up like a car dealership, I like that kind of stuff. But then like the stuff where it is now, I'm not really a fan of, but I don't hate nor like him. So I'm kind of impartial. For me, I think I can have a balanced opinion.
So already this story is difficult, but I want to make you aware of two more things which matter. First, I have gone to MrBeast's team to try to fact check this story extensively, and they declined to fact check or comment on my many questions. Instead, they gave me a statement.
They gave me a coupon to Burger King,
which we will get to. Secondly, I have a bit of history with MrBeast. I interviewed and spoke positively about him in the past, but also his new co-founder is suing me, and his other co-founder threatened to sue me. So you can make of that what you will. As always, I just want to let you know where I'm coming from, and I've tried to get all sides of the story. We're going to start with the main...
It is important to get all sides of the story because, yeah, you'll have people who hate him, and anything relatively negative will kind of validate their opinions on why they should hate him. And you also have people who like him, and then any kind of excuse that he may have for the actions, they will take that as a reason to be like, oh, okay, right? Oh, okay, that's fine. It's good to have a balanced and kind of a neutral view on this, because either way, if your opinion is either positive or negative, that's going to skew what might be the actual truth.
Major allegations against MrBeast and build on those. They come from two sources. Firstly, an investigation by Soma XBT, which claims MrBeast made $10 million by backing low-cap crypto tokens, which are down 90%. And the second investigation comes from a group of 5 people who investigated MrBeast and found $23 million in profits from, quote, scams, shady deals, and his network. Now, there are a lot of crypto projects they go over, and I want to be clear. Some of these allegations, I agree, are bad. Others, I think, are actually worse than have been reported, and still other allegations I simply disagree with them on. So we're going to start with what I don't agree with. According to the report, Polychain Monsters, or PMON, is a project which KSI promoted heavily. MrBeast did not. But MrBeast did get in the pre-sale and make a lot of money, and thus the...
So he was an early investor?
Conclusion is made, it's highly likely MrBeast made an investment from that insider information of KSI's promotional deal. But there's simply...
It could have. But I mean, if you can get into like, if you can be an early investor in no matter what, if you're an early investor, the odds of you making money, I think, are a lot higher than if you invest late, right? So whether he knew KSI was going to promote such a project, the odds of him making some money on the project were probably already pretty high because he invested early into it.
No evidence provided of this. I had the same thoughts about JigStack, another coin which KSI promoted, and the conclusion is, though MrBeast did not officially follow JigStack, in his network, KSI was involved in promoting JigStack. From this information, MrBeast...
These are all just like crypto token or coins. Is that what this is? The only crypto coin I think is worth it would be like Bitcoin, Ethereum, or maybe XRP. But I think the number one would be like Bitcoin. Because everything else, like you can... Freaking even Trump has his own coin. Like anyone can make their own coin if they can put some money behind it, right? So with crypto stuff, it's only really the main ones you want to... I would say are the only ones that are really worth it, or that might have a long, long haul to them.
Invested and made a large return. Here again, there isn't concrete proof. Now I asked the team who wrote this piece, and the lead author, Casper Vanderlook, told me, quote, having known MrBeast's having a very strong connection with KSI, it's basically highly probable he was vested as a result of KSI. No concrete evidence, just going off probabilities. But I'm gonna...
Probabilities are not evidence, and it's not a guarantee. So it's making claims on a probability are dangerous.
I'm gonna say I don't agree with that, and I'm gonna toss those probabilities aside. I think they reach too far. Instead, I'm gonna stick with what we can prove happened. Luckily, the biggest claims in this report, the biggest money makers, are much better supported by evidence. Starting with Super. This is the project MrBeast is alleged to have made the most amount of money on, over $10 million based on a pre-sale of $100,000. As for evidence, we have leaked screenshots showing MrBeast telling Super's founder that he can do 100K. Then we have a wallet that...
$100,000 to 10 million? What the frig? That's like that's like 1,000. Is that 1,000? 1,000% return? That's crazy.
That both investigations traced to MrBeast, sending 100K to the presale wallet. And then we have the same wallets getting millions of these super tokens in a period of unlocks, which were almost all sold aggressively. Now, why is this bad? Well, MrBeast is obviously hugely influential, and he publicly associated himself with the project twice. Once on March 3rd, 2021, he responded to a tweet with eyeball emojis. And then he interacted a second time on May 12th, 2021. This is much worse. The founder, Elio Trades, had tweeted, there's a gym sitting there on the market at eye-watering prices set to explode during the DeFi Summer 2.0. MrBeast's response, Super? But what he doesn't say is that he'd already purchased a huge stake in Super at this point, and on the day that he's tweeting, he was selling tokens, allegedly.
He was selling the Super tokens?
Not only that, he had been selling tokens and continued to sell tokens.
I can see how this is like a Boogie 2988 scam. It would actually even be worse because Boogie just got like paid to promote some coin. But, if you have, $100,000 worth of coin and it skyrockets up, and then you're also like commenting to kind of promote it, and you're selling as it is skyrocketing, that is like a pump and dump, right? I think that's illegal.
In the 72 hours after the May 12th tweet, MrBeast sold about $200,000 worth of these tokens. And remember the context. He's responding to the founder of the coin discussing a gym at eye-watering prices that's going to explode during the summer. And MrBeast's response is the coin he's selling. So publicly, it's signaling, hey, Super is this undervalued coin, and privately, MrBeast allegedly sold. Now, I ran these wallets by MrBeast, as well as the accusation, but...
Yeah, it is shady. It is shady.
But I didn't get a reply. Instead, I got a heavily lawyered statement from a spokesman, who I'm going to warn you is about to complicate things. Quote, these investments were made and managed in consultation with industry experts to ensure full compliance with all appropriate rules and regulations. The wallet is not owned or managed by Jimmy, but rather a fund led by respected and sophisticated managers. The fund closely evaluated and scrutinized hundreds and hundreds of opportunities, which resulted in several investments.
So he has his own fund, or he created like a team of managers and then told them to go do the investing and then just gave them money to do it? Is that what that means? So he may not be the one making the decisions, but he has paid a bunch of people to make them for him?
Some have been more successful, others less, and others still works in progress. The fund's investment strategies apply the same rigorous standards as many other experienced investors in the field. Now, I have a lot of questions, but the big thing is Jimmy denies doing any of the trading or managing the trading and blames it on a fund.
Now, maybe the fund is the one doing the trading, Okay, maybe they are doing the trading, but who's in control of his Twitter account? Because if he is responding to the creator of the coin, essentially insinuating that the coin is undervalued or something, if he's the one doing that, is he not kind of still taking part of, whatever's going on here? Unless his Twitter account's owned by the fund too, or ran by the fund.
So I asked some obvious follow-up questions. What is the name of this fund? Who are the industry experts? And what rules and regulations were followed that allowed you...
I don't even think there are that many rules and regulations in the crypto space anyway, are there? So if you could say you're following the rules and regulations, but if there aren't really that many rules, then what does that mean?
You to tweet about a coin while your fund is selling. I didn't get a response. It's worth mentioning the spokesman is Matthew Hiltzik, a well-known crisis management consultant. Thankfully, online...
At Harvey what? Harvey Weinstein?
There still are a number of clues we can follow to try to find the right person for this fund. The reason most people link MrBeast to this wallet we've been tracking is mostly based on a tweet by MrBeast saying he bought a specific CryptoPunk, which belonged to an account which goes by Wu-Tang Clan. People assumed, understandably, that this was MrBeast's wallet. But what is lesser known is that another account has also tweeted about CryptoPunks and has the same ties back to Wu-Tang Clan. A guy named Jason Williams. He's followed by MrBeast on Twitter, and he's the author of a book on Bitcoin, so he's a crypto guy. And I found Jason tweeting about another CryptoPunk saying, "I hope you enjoy your new home, sold for 100 ETH. That sale he's talking about links back to the same address MrBeast does, Wu-Tang Clan.
I'm confused. What does this mean? I don't know what this is getting at.
On YouTube, there's even more clues. Jason can be seen surfing wearing a Wu-Tang Clan shirt, and his brand name, Going Parabolic, happens to be owned by the same MrBeast wallet, goingparabolic.eth. So there's...
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Very good evidence that Jason Williams was also involved in this same wallet, which means that it might be true that MrBeast wasn't the guy buying or selling.
Oh, so that these people are linked to MrBeast's wallet, so that you're insinuating or thinking that maybe they're, in control of the wallet?
Which would be good for MrBeast and bad for these investigations. But just when I thought MrBeast might have no say in what this wallet did, I saw this podcast with Logan Paul, where Jimmy discusses CryptoPunks once again, and things get complicated.
So me and Logan both bought punks. You guys will probably see on this Twitter.
I don't understand why he, Jimmy's worth a lot of money, and does all these other business ventures. Why is he getting into crypto? Like, with the amount of money that he makes, why get into crypto? That's such a risky asset to get into, right? Like, if you're gonna hold it for the long term, that's what I would say. Maybe just hold some Bitcoin, because with the government printing money and all that crap, it's probably gonna go up over the long term. I don't know for sure, but that just is logical to me. But these little, crap, turd coins, why put money into that? It doesn't make any sense.
Twitter that he bought a bunch of CryptoPunks at the same time, right?
Yep.
When Gary pulled us in that call.
Yep.
So have you ever told that story?
No.
Gary V, it's like 11 p.m. just out of nowhere, just calls me and he's like, "Yo, I got like 30 people to call. Hop in." I'm like, "Oh."
I'm sure everyone who listened to Gary Vee is really happy right now because crypto punks, I think, have lost the majority of their value.
I don't care. He's like, "It'll be the best decision of your life. Just get in." I was
Yeah.
like, "Okay."
Yeah.
And so I just joined the call. And I just see like Logan and I don't even know these other people. I
Yo.
don't want to put them on blast.
Every heavy hitter you can imagine who's
Exactly.
worth $1 billion was on this one call, and Gary V is in the little corner, the little square. He's going, CryptoPunks. It's gonna be huge. It's gonna be the next Facebook. All of us were like, okay,
Everyone's
Gary.
judging. I'm texting Logan. And
He's
I'm like, Gary
is
lost
this
his
legit?
mind.
Bro, all of us were like, yo, Gary's nuts. Yo, Gary was right again.
I bought a
Was he, though? The last I heard, the CryptoPunks had lost the majority of their value because although I understand the whole idea of the blockchain, like having or owning a picture isn't really anything. It's not physical. It's not really anything. So regardless of whether you own it or not, the only value there is if people think that there's value there. Like if you have a physical metal or actual physical cash, or you have stocks, that is a tangible asset because you own part of, physical cash, physical metal. Stocks, or you own part of a company, right? These are physical things, but if it's just like a digital image that you own, the only value there is what other people think that there's value there. Does that make sense?
bunch.
Wait.
Yeah, I bought quite a few.
How many?
I don't want to say, but
You have to
No,
say-
please.
bro, you
You have to.
I bought multiple ones. Yeah.
Well, bro, are you in double digits, Punks?
Double, just shy.
Huh.
Does that mean he bought 9 CryptoPunks? And those things, at least at the time that this was probably filmed, were probably really expensive.
Well, this clip is very interesting because Jimmy said he made the decision to get CryptoPunks based on a call with Gary Vee. But those punks are owned by the wallet we just said was controlled by Jason. So it appears sometimes MrBeast is telling Jason what to buy for this fund. MrBeast then later talks about selling these CryptoPunks and rolling the money into a new project.
Oh, he got out at the top, huh?
And once again, it sounds like he's in charge.
Well, I've already sold quite a few of them, so I don't.
What?
Dude,
he's on to the next thing.
I bought a bunch of, so then I rolled the money into VeeFriends because Gary, same thing, called me. He's like, VeeFriends. I was like, I don't know, but last time I made money, sure.
I'll be honest, these clips to me make it difficult to assume MrBeast had no idea what's going on. He talks about CryptoPunks and VeeFriends like personal investments. And on Twitter, he says that not only he bought CryptoPunks,
What is VeeFriends? I don't know what this is. Is it a coin?
he also tweets about loading up on VeeFriends. But again, I have to say, it is also abundantly clear Jason Williams was involved. He says, "Hey Gary, thanks for the VeeFriends gift code. It was a gift from Gary to MrBeast. I'm very thankful for it. He didn't have to send anything."
Yeah, this friggin'... It's not good ever giving, like, investment advice. You know, if I'm saying, if you're going to get into the crypto space, hold Bitcoin, that's not really advice as it is my opinion. But if you're, like, if you own some, like, shady coin, and then you're posting, you have a lot of influence and you're posting stuff about it, pretty sure that's, like, illegal, isn't it? Like, if I'm MrBeast and I say, oh, I own Bitcoin or something like that, I don't think that's illegal because it's not going to pump and dump it. But if it's a crappy coin, that seems more like it would be. I don't know.
So once again, Jason Williams appears to be involved and have something to do with the trading or management of MrBeast's crypto wallet, but we know MrBeast made some of the decisions. So of course, I asked MrBeast to explain himself if he had any say over the trading, but once again, there's no response. So now I want to turn back to Super. We know from leaked DMs that MrBeast and not Jason set up this presale, and we know that MrBeast made the tweet. So now we have to guess. Here's what we know. We know MrBeast set up the presale according to leaked screenshots. We know MrBeast made the tweet, but we don't know whether it was Jason doing the trading of Super, or if he was doing the trading, did MrBeast know about it? Did Jason know about the tweet? These are the questions that ultimately matter. And yes, I reached out to Jason Williams for a comment. He didn't reply. I did, however, get a hold of...
I wonder why. Man, this is getting hard to kind of wrap my head around all this here. So, MrBeast has doing crypto trading, but it's in the hands of managers. But then he also has some kind of say on what goes on, which makes sense, kind of. I could go put money into some ETFs in the stock market, but ultimately I'm still behind what goes on. So if I don't like what's in those ETFs, I could get out and put it into something else. And most ETFs are actually managed. So although I'm in control, these ETFs have managers. So is that the same kind of idea? I don't think that would be a crime. There's like thousands of crypto coins, right? So if you put money into every single one, eventually you're probably going to hit the bullseye and one of them is going to go crazy, I would assume, right? That just kind of makes sense. But so that's not illegal. But if you're specifically promoting it, then I would say that that's probably more of the illegal aspect, at least in my opinion.
Elio Trades, who is the founder of Super, and he insisted that MrBeast's tweet was not a part of a deal for promotion. But you should know, he also mentions how upset he was with how presale investors sold their tokens, saying most of them sold, including MrBeast.
That also makes sense. Okay, let's say that I've invested into a crap coin and it shoots up like crazy and you're up like, 600-700%. I'm going to get out too, all right? Like, and even if I'm not the one promoting it or whatever, and it just shoots up that high, you're smart to get out. If you get greedy and keep holding, that never works out. It's always smart to get out when you have such a crazy return. And yeah, I mean, if you'd held Bitcoin all the way from the beginning to now, it's worth a whole lot. But you never know that, right? Hindsight's always 20/20. But if it's up 200% in a day, that may be a sign to be like, okay, I got to get out and I'll wait for a dip to get back in. So I can't blame people for getting out, if it just shoots up all of a sudden. I can't blame people for that. It's only if they were the ones behind pumping it that I think that's more of an issue.
So those are the facts. MrBeast gets involved in a pre-sale. For some reason, tweets at this project twice. One time on the day his fund is selling tokens, where he seems to imply that they're undervalued. In total, he's alleged to have made $11 million with this deal, according to the report.
That's crazy.
So yeah, that's really bad. Now we're going to turn to another allegation, which is about Earn, or Eternity Chain. There are some facts which are the same. There are others that are different. For example, instead of MrBeast setting up the deal directly, the team at Earn claims they never spoke to MrBeast. Quote, "We were speaking to his fund manager. And when I asked about these wallets selling allegedly over $4 million in tokens, they say, quote, MrBeast's fund was an early investor in our pre-sale. He had the same unlock schedule as everyone else. Were we happy with the way he sold? Definitely not. But legally, there was nothing we could have done. And then, just like with Super, they claim they didn't ask for a promotion of the project, but that MrBeast decided to comment once himself anyways. On March 9th, 2021, MrBeast responds to Eternity Chain saying, this one will be hype. It's worth noting.
Now, I would be interested to see how many people actually saw that. Because like Twitter normally provides stats for that kind of stuff, right? Like how many people saw that or interacted with it? Because if only a small amount of people actually saw that, you couldn't say that he's solely behind the explosion of that stock or crypto coin. Like if only 200 people see that, the odds of that coin shooting up to the moon aren't that high. You would have to have a whole lot of people putting money in, right?
Once again, about 24 hours before saying this fund wallet purchased over $100,000 of Earn tokens in addition to the presale. Now, what is different about Super is that MrBeast's name was put publicly on the Eternity Chain website. On their investors and partners page, you might be asking, well, which is it? Is he an investor or a partner? And the answer is both. He got into the presale, and the Earn team also claims that he partnered with them for an NFT drop. Supposedly, it was a charity drop and a normal NFT drop. Now, the charity drop specifically did happen in association with one of MrBeast's projects, Team Seas, saying, quote, all proceeds will go towards cleaning up the seas around the world. This was early November 2021. Then the official Team Seas account posts it on November 3rd, 2021, quote, what an awesome crypto collaboration in support of the team. Then the CEO of Eternity Chain, Nick Rose, confirms in Telegram that the drop is supported by MrBeast, saying, Earn and ETH tokens will be accepted for the charity auction, which was slated to last 2 months. Now, the reason I'm sharing all of this is because 1 month into this 2-month charity auction on November 30th, 2021, the Rocket Fund or Beast Fund or whatever you want to call it starts selling huge amounts of this Earn token. Allegedly,
was it up a whole lot or something?
They sold over $2 million.
How much did they put in there?
While the charity itself was still going on. Now, I know that sounds horrible. It looks horrible. It is horrible. Although I have to tell you, personally, I don't think this was a master plan to pump a coin with a charity auction. If it was the plan, it was a bad one because the NFT auction was ultimately a flop. But do I also think it doesn't matter because regardless of your intentions, selling tokens within a month of your 2-month charity auction is wrong, stupid, and unethical? Yes.
So it's a 2-month charity that they're doing. And then in the middle of it, he's selling all of his stake into the coin or whatever this is, like company. The only crypto people should be in are like the main like 3, because all the other ones have this kind of liability or risk to them where it could just be pumped up and then dumped. Because if you're an investor from the very beginning, you don't really think yours is the next Bitcoin. You think, oh, maybe it's going to go up to $1, or maybe it's going to triple in value and I can just get out, right? Most people think that way. Most people aren't just like hodling it, especially like those old, like the newer garbage kind of coins. Most people aren't just holding that forever thinking it's going to be the next Bitcoin. There is only one Bitcoin.
Yes, I think that as well. Because in case you forgot, MrBeast is the charity guy. whose name is on the website. It isn't a fund. It isn't a crypto rocket fund. It's MrBeast's branding. I even asked the Earn team about this, saying, quote, why did y'all list MrBeast instead of Rocket Fund in your partners' investors? Was that discussed? They say, quote, we listed him, MrBeast, as a partner, and quote, yes, they accepted that.
So that could look like, if he said Rocket Fund, it wouldn't draw that many eyes. But if you say MrBeast, if he labeled it MrBeast as the partner instead, are you insinuating that more people would see that and be inclined to invest into it? I do not know. But that kind of makes sense because of his name.
So according to the Earn team, MrBeast knew or should have known that his name was on the line for this investment and partnership. And yet, this fund, his fund, whatever you want to call it, sold tokens 1 month after starting a 2-month NFT auction for charity. To be fair again, though, it's hard to oversell how bad this NFT auction did. I have found only one NFT that appears to have sold here, but the bids were made in the Earn token, which the fund was selling, and the actual sale of the NFT didn't happen until after the fund sold in November 30th. The transfer happened in December 23rd. So of course, I went to MrBeast directly to answer this and see if there was some more context they could provide. There was no response other than the statement we've already read from MrBeast that he did not control the trading. Although again, that isn't a really satisfying answer because we've established MrBeast would sometimes direct what to buy and sell to this fund, like CryptoPunks. Personally,
Obviously, like if there was a manager there, they have to be doing something. MrBeast can't just be in the control of the whole thing. Or it doesn't really make sense to do that. But to have a middle guy, but then you're always making every shot anyway. So then what's the point of having the middle guy, right? So unless the middle person's actually doing some kind of transactions to benefit you, there's literally no point of having them there. So they must have been doing something. So you can't say everything is MrBeast's decision. That person in the middle had to have done something. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense.
like I said, I don't think this was a pre-planned scheme. But regardless of intentions, if you're the charity guy...
Yeah, like they as I was saying, you know, in this, it may not be a pre-planned, let's scam them or whatever, but I think it's the idea of if you get in at as you were saying, he got in I don't know what the frig the word was, but he got in early, right? It doesn't have to be a pre-planned scam, but if you get in early and it triples in value or quadruples in value, you're stupid if you don't sell it because you're up 400%, right? Like in the actual stock market, the S&P 500 only goes up on an average of like 7% or something a year. So if you're up 400% on an investment, you're stupid if you don't get out because you don't know how high it's going to go, but you also don't know if this is the top. But if you're up 400%, you've already done so much better than any investment in the S&P 500 or the general stock market could have done. So yeah, it doesn't have to be a pre-planned scam but it's like if you're up that amount, you're dumb if you don't get out.
You support a charity, it flops while your fund makes millions of dollars in profits because it's selling the same Earn token people could bid on the charity with. That just is awful. And you should feel awful about it.
Yeah, it may not have been intended to be like a scam, but also him selling large amounts of any coin, if he had a large percentage, that would actually lower the value of the coin, making it so that the people who actually are holding it or even doing this charity event, who are going to donate, that actual donation amount is going to be lowered down. So it's kind of like taking money away from the charity at the same time.
Look, now I want to move on from that to talking about our final token, XCAD. This is a token you may remember from our investigation into MrBeast's business partner, KSI. But unlike KSI, MrBeast was not promoting it a lot on Twitter. In fact, the only reason we know MrBeast was in the pre-sale is that there were several
Pre-sale, that's what it is.
Articles about it, bragging about that fact. Once again, MrBeast's name was...
If you can get into a pre-sale on any crypto coin, I'm not saying any because I don't know, but if you can get into a pre-sale on the majority of crypto coins, the odds of it going up are pretty high, I would at least think. Right? If you're getting in before the average person can get in, that's just like with an IPO. If you can get into like an IPO of a stock like Reddit or whatever before it goes out public, the odds of you making money are a lot higher than if you get in after it's available to everyone.
Used to promote this instead of the fund itself. And internally to investors, I have to say this built up a lot of excitement, not just because MrBeast is a huge name, but because XCAD had what's called creator tokens. So the idea to some investors is that, well, if they're investing MrBeast and KSI, what if they were ever to launch creator tokens? That would be massive. And I bring this up because some people might ask, like, what do these affiliations, how do they impact people buying these projects? And the answer from what I've seen is they actually do impact it quite a lot, because people are anticipating like further involvement. And also the idea is like they must not be investing unless they're long-term holders. You can see this in the Telegram chat.
That ain't it. The only long-term holding, as I said, would be like the actual 3 top like crypto coins. I don't see any idea of holding any kind of coin other than the top ones, at least in my opinion. It doesn't, like, you have so many. It doesn't make sense thinking that some garbage coin is going to be the next Bitcoin.
Became so common that in the XCAD community, one of the admins says, "Here we go again," another community member asking if there's any possibility of a MrBeast KSI token. And meanwhile, by the way, as that's happening, as the investors are hoping for these creator tokens and that they're imminent, behind the scenes, something entirely different had been happening. Like with Super and Earn, MrBeast's fund sold a lot of their XCAD early in 2021 rather than holding their tokens. And this was surprising to even the founder of XCAD himself, Oliver Bell, who said they told him they were going to do the opposite. He tells me, quote, "Hey, so MrBeast reached out to me during our pre-sale raise. A group was set up with his team, and we had a call with his team, and they said they liked the concept. There was no strings attached to the investment. They did, however, want a lot bigger ticket than what I offered them, which I'm glad I did not fulfill. We discussed not just flipping this token, as this can damage projects if people have decent sized tickets."
So this doesn't look good. I think the idea of these projects or whatever, I think they're all like, it's just such a bad idea to me. You're gonna have tokens of like creators. What does that even mean? Like a KSI coin or a MrBeast coin? What is the idea behind that? No one's going to go to a store and be like, "Hey, I'd like to pay for this. How much is it?" "Oh, it's 25 MrBeast coins." All of these crypto projects, I personally do not trust.
It was my understanding we were aligned on this. However, after listing to which XCAD performed well, there was heavy dumping from a wallet linked to MrBeast's team. I got in contact with them immediately and asked them why they were selling like this. Now, Oliver later claims this discussion about flipping tokens and them being aligned about the fact they're not going to flip these tokens so quickly was with Jason. And apparently, Oliver was so upset about what happened, he DM'd Jimmy directly, quote, explaining his team will ruin.
Yeah, like, although I get the idea of if you invest in it, as I've said this a couple times already, if you invest in something and it skyrockets, it doesn't make sense holding it, right? So I understand the idea of getting out, but also, yeah, if you said you're not going to do that, and you said that you're going to hold it for a while, and then you don't do that, you are 100% hurting this person's reputation, because then it looks like this person, created a pump and dump or something like that. So that it is very damaging.
Win his reputation. And look, sorry to be a broken record, but yes, I reached out to Jimmy about this too. And once again, there was no reply besides the statement we read earlier. It's worth mentioning that I asked Oliver for proof of this message about ruining relationships, and he said the message had been deleted on Telegram. So who you believe here is up to you. Oliver also says, quote, "I don't think Jimmy has a bad heart or is a bad person. I think he has genuine interest in the crypto space, but I think the team that handles his crypto is completely clueless."
Well, they're not clueless. They know how to make money. He made like, was it 20 or something $million? They know how to make money. If you're up 600%, get out, move on. But when you're doing that, and then you get in at the IPO or the pre-sale or whatever it's called, and then you just get out as soon as it's up a bit, that's that's going to make it look like you're pumping and dumping, right? You get in before it's available to the public. It's available to the public. It skyrockets. You get out because you made 400% or whatever. Like that's a crazy way to make money. But you can hurt a lot of people doing that.
And here, on this last point, I have to disagree with Oliver. I don't think that Jimmy's crypto team is clueless. I think they saw an opportunity to make millions of dollars with MrBeast's valuable brand, and they took it. And they did make millions of dollars. And along the way, they did some things that were shady. Whether or not you think they were also illegal is probably going to be shaped by our unanswered questions and where you fill in those gaps.
Yeah, like I don't know if it's illegal or not. If you're getting in pre-sale or IPO to anything and it skyrockets up, getting out's the smartest thing to do. But yeah, it does look like you're just pumping and dumping when you do that all the time to new crypto coins or new stocks that just come out. So I'm kind of torn on this because yeah, you're going to hurt other people who are investing. Like general public who invests are going to get hurt from that. But whether it's illegal or not, I don't know. That would be up for a court to decide. It's not my business.
For example, do you think MrBeast knew about the selling that was going on May 12th for the super token? Why did he make that tweet? And then, do you think MrBeast knew about the charity auction and the selling that was happening on November 30th? And do you think Oliver Bell DM'd MrBeast and told him his crypto team would ruin his reputation? And if so, was that ignored? I hate to leave so many unanswered questions here, but
he could have just told his team, hey, if any of these are up 300%, 500%, I want you to sell because I don't know how high it's going to go. I want you to sell if I'm up that high, right? And so they could have just started doing that to add to all these investments that he got into.
But I warned you, this was a complicated story. And a big part of the problem is the guy at the center of this story cannot or will not give more than a heavily lawyered statement through a spokesman who's a crisis management consultant. And let me just say, it's also frustrating that this statement takes zero accountability. Despite the fact MrBeast's team knew every major allegation that we're laying out here today, there is no mention of selling while MrBeast was tweeting about Super Token. There's no mention of them selling tokens a month after they partnered with a 2-month charity auction. And because of that, this statement feels very hollow. I think to MrBeast and probably to his fund, maybe this is just business, you know? They set out to make a lot of money and they made a lot of money. What's the problem, right? This is America. They might think this is the biggest MrBeast nothing burger since MrBeast Burger. But look, honestly, I'd agree with them if they had done this crypto stuff without using MrBeast's name.
That's where I think I would agree with too. The fact that they included his name or the tweets, which kind of promoted whatever he was invested in, I think that's kind of the shadiness. I don't know if it's illegal or not. It's not my business to decide that. But to me, that's kind of shady. Right? Like if I were to create a coin or get invested in a coin and then start tweeting about it and then sell as soon as it's up 300%, I'm an a-hole if I do that. And I don't think I could ever do that to people. But if I'm invested and I don't actually talk about it, at least on any, at least where I have any kind of voice, and then I get out when it's up that much, that makes sense. That's what any other investor probably should do if you want to save your money. But if you have a public voice and then you're talking about your investments and then you get out as soon as it's up, I don't know if it's illegal, but that's such an a-hole thing to do, and that's like that just hurts people. That's not good. This is no bueno.
But they want to have their cake and eat it too. This fund trades on MrBeast's name, as we've seen. They get in pre-sales based on his name. He tweets from his public account, and they're putting his name publicly on projects' websites instead of a fund.
Yeah, if they had a fund on it, if they had the fund's name on it, I don't think it would matter. But when you have MrBeast's name on it, I think it's more brand awareness, right? And then you're going to drive more people to maybe think, oh, maybe I should invest in it, right? That's at least how it seems to me.
But when things go south, suddenly, oh, MrBeast, what? No liability, just because he's not sitting there physically pressing the buttons. I don't think that's the way it works. Look, I want to close with the final part of this CryptoPunks podcast we showed you earlier, because in many ways, I think it's a microcosm of this story. Obviously, I have to say, I'm not making any comments or judgments about the guy who's suing me, who's also in this clip. That's just coincidence. I am only talking about MrBeast's reaction, because as MrBeast is talking about Gary V's great CryptoPunks call, there's a moment when the co-host says, hey, maybe instead of Gary V being a genius, maybe it's just the call itself that makes the market. And MrBeast kind of defends it. He says, no, that was in February. CryptoPunks didn't pop until the summer. And, I never talked about CryptoPunks until this very moment.
Can I ask you guys a question? When Gary does that call with all these billionaires and 8 months or a year later, everybody's like, Gary was right again.
Yeah.
Is it possible that he's right because of the call?
What? So he's gotten all these people to believe him, and then they put money in it, and that in itself is what causes them to go up?
Do you know what I'm saying?
I think about that a lot.
Dude, he has all these billionaire market makers in the thing.
He
makes the call, makes the market. By the way, you look around at all the punk owners a year later, and you're like, damn, it's all the same motherfuckers
punks that were on the call.
No, because bro, there's 10,000 punks, and there's only like 30 of us in the call. We can only own and do so much. There's still an entire market that's gonna happen regardless.
I can tell you, I don't think what, because that was all back like early February.
I would like to know their thoughts on it now, considering how things have fallen off. I think in the punk space.
But, like things didn't pop off till later, and every like NFT project was popping off, not just punks.
I mean, make no mistake. Like having such influential people involved in projects, it can't hurt the ability for the project to
but like,
work. You know what I'm saying?
95% of those people didn't even mention it. You know what I mean? Like, I've never talked about it publicly.
Yeah, but that last part isn't quite true. The reason we're all here is MrBeast tweeted about CryptoPunks the same day he bought them back in February of 2021. That's how we found his wallet, even though we now know someone else was involved too. And I would apply the same level of scrutiny to many of the investments we've talked about. Was it the genius of Jason Williams, MrBeast, or this fund that made them tens of millions of dollars?
Okay, now him talking about the CryptoPunk when he bought it, that I don't think is an issue. Because no one else can buy it from him unless he wants to sell that. There's only one CryptoPunk. It's not like it's a coin. There's coin, there's many, you can buy as many as you want, right? But if it's a CryptoPunk, there's only one, a specific one that you bought. So if you buy, I don't know, a Bored Ape, a specific Bored Ape, no one else can take that from you unless you try to sell it. In that case, I don't know if there's an issue with you saying that, oh, you bought this one, unless someone wants to buy it from you because you're MrBeast or something.
Maybe. Or was it the fact that the name they brought to the table was MrBeast, one of the most influential and valuable brands in the world? And that's what got them the great deals. That's what got them a bunch of eyeballs. That's what made it so valuable to have his name on these websites. And maybe that's what made the market. Ultimately, I think it's for you to decide.
Wow, this is a freaking long video. Oh my gosh, almost an hour. As I've said in this, I don't know if it's illegal or not. Some of the stuff, it obviously looks shady. If he never attached his name to it, I don't think I would have a problem with it. Because if you get the opportunity to get into something before everyone else, that normally will end up working well. At least a large part of the time, it will end up working well. So I can't blame him for getting in. And then if the stock goes up 400, 500%, you're kind of a fool to keep staying in, thinking it's going to keep going up and up and up, because maybe it will go up to 1,000%, but regardless, at some point, it's probably going to come down, and you don't know when that is. So if you're up 500% on an investment, getting out, I don't blame anyone for getting out. So I can't say any of that is an issue. I just think attaching your name to it, maybe making other people look at it and be like, oh, maybe I should get into it. I think that's kind of where the issue lies. Whether it's illegal or not, I don't know. That's not my decision, but it's definitely, at least on a moral standpoint, I couldn't do that, right? Like, I'm not going to invest into a crap coin that start promoting it and then get out when it's up 500% or whatever, and then hurt a bunch of, viewers. I think that's a scummy thing to do. So I could never do that. And whether what he did or not is illegal, to me, it just seems kind of scummy. But, anyway, whatever. With that being said, hope you guys like this video. This is fantastic. Well done, CoffeeZilla. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time.